Okay, beautiful. So let's proceed. One more test you will need to do. Sometimes in a virtual class like this, you are going to get very tired, especially if the session is a little bit weary and draggy. So I will invite you to stretch. Okay, I can see someone drawing on our screen. Okay, so once you get tired, just stretch. If you're tired, just learn how to stretch. Even while you're seated, you can stretch. Do a leg stretch, do a hand stretch. It is very good for your vitals so that you can join successfully and enjoy the class very well. Having said that, I'd like to introduce the session formally. And so like we said earlier, my name is Joel Omike. We're going to have a discussion on leadership essentials and why leadership today has become very important, how you can improve on your leadership skills, and what you can do to also succeed in this particular area of leadership. We'll be looking at the framework on the LDI, the Leadership Development Institute, and why this particular framework is very useful to assist you in growing yourself as much as possible. Okay. So there are various levels of this particular leadership essentials, how to use the leadership framework. Both levels help you to appreciate it very well. And this is the framework in question. The leadership development framework involves various categories. Actually, it involves 6 different sections. 6 different sections. The first section is developing yourself and leading yourself. The second part of the framework looks at building relationships and engaging others to be successful in those areas. The third part of the framework looks at partnering and collaborating. The fourth area is on shaping a preferred future. How do you lead your staff? How do you lead the organization into the future so that they can be successful? And then we also have set directions and achieve results. This is about making sure that directions are set properly and we're able to achieve the kind of results we expect to achieve. Then the 6th one is on visioning for the future and driving the strategy of the organization to be able to achieve that particular vision for you to be successful at that point. The most important for senior managers, those who are responsible for leadership, is the creating of the vision for the future and delivering that particular vision for the future. I work with P4P Institute. We are a performance management and business consulting institute. We work very well around the areas of integrated human capital management and business strategy. One of the unique things we bring to the market is that we believe that organizations need to change their paradigm and their practices so that they can engage and deliver high performance results. Part of our system helps the businesses to ensure they grow within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And interestingly, this is our 10th year anniversary. So for the past 10 years, our programs help to develop very, very versatile and resilient executives and leaders. Why do people choose us in some of the programs we run? For one thing, our programs are very practical. We combine both academic thoughts into the practice that helps you to focus more and deliver results. And then our faculty ensure that the programs we bring to the table are very relevant. It meets you at the point in time that you need it to be able to deliver the results that you want within your business. And then we're very collaborative. You'll notice during these particular sessions that there's continuous engagement to be able to have a good conversation and then address your needs within the program. Then our conversations are usually very personal. Sometimes the class sizes are very small. And this allows you to ask direct questions and engage with the facilitator to be able to make your learning, to own your learning and internalize it as much as possible. In terms of the solutions we have in the markets, we have various business solutions and HR solutions. Our business solutions help big businesses to grow. We bring business intelligence, corporate performance management, and the value builder. And we have an online tool using the Podlancer and my pro services to be able to drive this process also. For our HR solutions, we have HR recruitment where we help organizations to find talents. We also have assessments, where we help organizations to ensure that the talent they are hiring fit for purpose at that point in time, or for leadership assessments, or for promotion assessment, as the case may be, so that success is predictable. And we're also in the space of outsourcing, payroll outsourcing, staff outsourcing, below the line outsourcing, and then employee assistance services that we'll bring to the table. And then we engage with a lot of consulting services, business process improvement, performance management improvement, culture improvement, as the case may be, depending on the need of the organization at that point in time. Our learning and development solutions cut across various acts of training and development. Open programs will have both local and international programs for open enrollment for organizations that want to send their staff to open programs like this particular one we're going through at this point in time. Then there are certification programs, especially within the space of HR and project management, representing CIPM, HRCI, SHIM, and PMI from USA. And then we have in-house programs, in-company programs, bespoke and developed for an organization. And this is delivered to the organization according to the need of the organization at that point in time. Then there are events, and then there are conferences also that will bring to the table to ensure that organizations get the kind of value they want as this is delivered to them throughout the organization. Then there are career solutions that helps executives to also build themselves, both coaching and mentoring services, career fairs, the skills academies that help individuals to hone their skills to be relevant in the future, and also events and conferences. We have various events and conferences in this particular space. And then, of course, there are small business and entrepreneurial solutions that we'll bring to the table. We have digital solutions that help us to address this, including HR1 Recruiter, a platform for recruiting, ProVarsity, a platform for e-learning and being able to run virtual programs, and an upcoming one, the HRM Varsity, which is a HR institute, and then the P4P Talks, our own branded webinar programs that delivers thought leadership from time to time, weekly to general public. Okay, I think I have a chart here. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. In terms of our brands, we have various brands in the market with which we do the things we do. Beside the P4P Institute corporate brand, there's the HRM Varsity, the Let's Read, Podlancer we spoke about, the Leadership Development Initiative, the Global Citizenship Conference, which is an annual conference on being able to find opportunities internationally, the HR1 Recruiter, Micro Services, Geo100, HR1 software for running your HR in the organization, and also for task management and project management. ProVarsity has spoken about the work readiness assessment, the entrepreneurship area where we have the juniorpreneur, the smartpreneur, and the smartpreneur game. Okay, so these are some of the brands we bring to the market and we work with. Beyond these particular brands also, we have enjoyed the endorsement of various organizations at one point in time or the other, like Workforce Management Group, HR Certification Institute, Value Builder, and more recently, CIPM here in Nigeria. In terms of our experience and expertise, we've been privileged to work with various sectors in the economy, from manufacturing to fast-moving consumer goods, financial services, consulting services, ICT and telecoms, energy, oil and gas, public sector, aviation and transport, even in the hospitality also. We have had our fair share in this particular area. Now, introducing myself, my name is Joel, Joel Obike, and I am a trusted advisor. I'm a certified business value builder, and I help organizations to grow and advance in what they do. I speak, I train, and I coach. I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been privileged to work with various executives in various sectors, like I said earlier, and I am a very, very determined individual when it comes to driving excellence and driving growth in various areas. This material you're going to get, so when you get the material, you have access to our contact details, and then in case you have any questions, you can always follow us on any of our platforms. We are very social, okay? You can tweet, you can follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on YouTube as the case may be. All right, so these are the various platforms you can reach out to us at this point in time in the conversation. I am going to come back to this slide, but this slide is asking the question, what is your expectation from this particular program? What do you want to learn? What do you want to take away from this program? In terms of experience, in terms of learning, in terms of what you want to be able to do, in terms of the results you want. So I invite you, as you stay at this point in time, to write down your expectations from this particular course. If you note it down, when we come back to discuss this in another 5 minutes from here, you can share your thoughts, you can share your perspective, what you want out of this program. Now, in terms of personal introduction, I may not ask all of you one-on-one to introduce you by your names. I assume that the names you have on your participants here is your names. So I will be addressed by those particular names. But I would want you to introduce yourself by telling me 3 words. 3 words that describe you. Okay, if you think about it very well, as you've grown up all this while to this point, who you are, what will you say are the words that describe you very clearly? That says, once you mention that word, that is that particular individual. For me, as an example, my 3 words that describe me is passionate. I am usually involved. I'm usually passionate about what I do. I bury myself in the work I do, sometimes to a point where I forget every other thing else, but I'm passionate about what I do. The second word that describes me is professionalism. I try to do things very well and with all due of respect and carefulness to the things I do. So in such a way that wherever it is seen, people respect the fact that it was done very well. And then I try to be very excellent. Whenever I do something, it is always different. I don't do the same thing over again and I do it the same way. I always find a way to improve upon it so that next time it is done, you always find extra value at that point in time for what is offered. So it's now your turn. Can you chat or you unmute yourself and tell me what are the 3 words that define you? The floor is open. Anyone can speak and anyone can chat. What are the 3 words that define you? My platform here says we have Tammy, we have Ruth, we have Gloria, we have Jasmine, we have Jane, we have Kasim, we have Kelvin on the program. So what are the 3 words that define them? Please shoot. The beautiful Tammy. Tammy has gone first. She says kind, friendly, and attentive. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. More? Can we get like 5 persons to respond? Thanks, Tammy. Who else? Thanks for breaking the ice. Okay, Gloria says focus, perfection, and leadership. Beautiful. Thanks a lot, Gloria. Okay. Jane says integrity, friendly, and passion. Beautiful. Jasmine says social, generous, and fun. Okay, I hope you share your lunch with me since you're generous. Thank you very much. Yes, can we get one more person to share? Oh, yes. Thank you, Ruth. Ruth says honesty, integrity, and bold. Honesty, integrity, and bold. Thank you all for being a part of this quick conversation. Although we have a few persons that haven't shared yet, but we hope they will share before we leave this particular session. Now, these words that describe you by nature are the default mode people will see you by. People will always refer to you as, no, they say the person is a social person. It's never a dull moment around that particular individual. Or you say the person is very bold. You can count on the person to take tough decisions and act when it is required. Or we say someone is very focused, means that the person pays attention to detail. The person does not avoid anything, or anything does not go beyond his sight. Then someone of integrity. So integrity shows that the person is honest, whether people are seeing the person or people are not seeing the person at that point in time. And then finally, the expression we had from Tammy says the person is kind. Kindness is a virtue that is rare and scarce in our world today, especially in Nigeria, where we are all in a hurry to get to somewhere. Oh, sorry, like a cartoon says, we're in a hurry to get to nowhere, as the case is. Okay. Okay, Kabir and Kelvin says, honesty, excellence, creative. I am not too sure whether this is for Kabir or it's for Kelvin. Okay, but honesty, excellence, and creativity. Let me pick on creativity that we haven't spoken about earlier. Creativity says that you find a different way of doing things in such a way that it adds life. It is completely different, and it is exciting to be to look at and to have at that point in time. It's like trying to find a solution to a particular problem, and instead of going conventional, you disrupt the status quo and then create something uniquely different from what used to be there at that point in time. Thank you everyone for sharing your perspective in terms of your 3 questions that define you. So thank you for this particular conversation and sharing with me these thoughts as we introduce the program at this point in time. Let's get into a conversation of why we are here. My first conversation with you is business realities. Now, neither results nor resources exist inside the business. Interestingly, all results, all resources are outside the business. You have to go outside the business for you to find these particular resources and results as much as possible. Results are obtained by exploiting opportunities, not by solving problems. A lot of people can solve problems, but in solving the problems, how much opportunities have you exploited in trying to solve that problem? Like Kabir or Kevin said earlier, how much creativity have you brought to the table? Or are you giving us the same thing we're used to seeing previously while you solve this particular problem? Then economic results are aimed only by good leadership. A typical example is what you find in our country today. You will not say there is economic results in our environment as much as possible, because generally there's a perception that there is not enough good leadership within our environment. Okay, so mere competence, the fact that you can do it is not enough. You must also be driven by good leadership at that point in time. Now, any leadership position you occupy, it doesn't matter the leadership position you occupy, anyone you occupy, it is temporary. It is transitional. Let me give you an example. What is the tenure of the president? What is the tenure of the president? Who will share? How long does a president or a governor stay in the office? Yes, who will share? Tell me. How long does a governor or a president stay in the office? You can type it, you can unmute and speak. 4 years, exactly. One standard tenure is 4 years, but some of them stay more than 4 years. Why do they stay more than 4 years? What happens to make them stay more than 4 years? Like the current president has done more than 4 years. Gloria says 4 to 8 years, depending on the administration. Exactly. They can be re-elected. They can win the vote again and then get back into the office. So it is called 2 terms. Then also, the person has gotten 2 terms. But are they allowed to serve 3 terms? Have you heard of a president within the political system that is allowed to serve 3 terms? No. Their tenure is usually maximum of 2 terms. And you see most of them working very hard to ensure that they get re-elected for the 2nd term. This is an indication for you that even that leadership position, the presidential or governor's position, is temporal. It is transitory. You are there temporary for a while. Now let's look into the organization where you work. In your organization, there are people who occupy various seats. There are heads of departments. There's head of finance, head of HR, head of accounting, various positions. These are leadership positions. Do they stay there forever? Can you think of a head of a department that has been there for 100 years. It is not possible. So leadership is likely to be short-lived. People must leave leadership positions. If that is true, that people will leave leadership position, then the big question is, while you were in that office, what did you achieve? What did you deliver while you were in that office? What will we know you for after you have left that particular office? Will your name be remembered? Will there be symbols that describe what you have achieved at that point in time? These are situations and scenarios we'll be looking at for in what you did. Then what exists today is getting old. Everything is old school. Have you noticed? A lot of things are old school because there's always something new. The way you move around town has changed. In the past, we used to use, there's this yellow giant buses that's called Molue. That's what we used to move around with before. But they've been phased out and they've brought in some sleek, better looking, fully AC'd blue or red colored buses, BRTs. Is that not so? You've also noticed that your standard taxis and cab system has all disappeared. Most of the ones you have now are cozy cabs, fully AC'd, that are hail cabs that use an app to invite and call. Again, an example of something that is new. Then yesterday evening, me and some of our colleagues were trying to get a meal, and we drove to a particular place to get it. One of my colleagues says, why didn't you order for it online? That's an example of what is old. Driving and getting to get your meal sometimes is old. You could have ordered for it and picked it on your drive-through as you're leaving, or order for it and they bring it to you at that point in time. Again, things have changed. Question: is your organization and department catching up with these particular changes? What exists is likely to be misallocated. And so these are indications that a lot has changed. This brings us to the perspective, what we call the leadership challenge. So we have challenge that the leadership has to deal with at this point in time. So can you see these four leaders? Can you see these four leaders? Which of these ones do you think is going to be the president of the United States in the next 40 years? Can you please choose one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which of them do you think is going to be the president of the United States? So this is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. Which of these 4 individuals you see here is going to win the election in 40 years' time to become our president, the president of the United States? This election is rigged. Okay. There's a lot of choice to number 2 and number 3. This election is rigged. Okay, somebody has chosen number 1, finally. The interesting thing about the challenge of leadership is that sometimes at the beginning of leadership, we cannot tell the future. We are not too sure of what is going to happen down the line in the future at that point in time. So we do not know what will be the end from where we are at that point. So for leadership to be able to achieve the results as expected, a lot of us must change. Each of us, however, contains the capacity to be a leader, according to Warren Bennett. So it doesn't matter where the person is from. Everybody has leadership potential buried inside him. Think about it very well. In our days in school, in your primary school, in your secondary school, there are children that you felt that came from wealthy families. Is that also? You notice that they are better than some of us. Each time they come to school, they look like they are from heaven, as the case may be at that point in time. And we're like, oh, wow, this family is good. Then fast track 20 years after school, when we started working. Have you noticed that some of those people that we didn't pay attention to, that we felt like these people are NFA, no future ambition, that some of them are now the leaders today. And those who had everything at the beginning, some of them have lost it and they are down to grass. So do not underestimate anyone you find anywhere you go to, because people have leadership potential right inside them at that point in time. Right? So it's not about where you're coming from. Leadership is not about where you're coming from. It is where you end, is your end point. Please judge nobody. Judge no one by his past. judge people by what they are doing today and what they want to create in the future, because everybody has that capacity to be a leader as they make progress into the future. So the leadership challenge is to realize your capacity. That potential, that leadership potential that is inside you, would you realize it? Will it be possible for you to realize that potential and become the leader that you want to be, that you've always wanted to be at that point in time? Okay, so leadership is the global issue. It crosses all boundaries. Like you can see the multiracial kids that we have on our screen here. They come from different cultures, different backgrounds, different, most probably different religion as the case may be. And just to show you that you are biased by your choice, immediately I showed you this picture, you were choosing number 2 and number 3 because you assume that they came from a particular race, and hence because of their race, they will win the election at that point in time. So do not judge ahead of time and when it comes to these kind of things. The next 4 days of our leadership session, we are going to be discussing 4 things. 1, we shall be looking at understanding leadership styles. What are the leadership styles? What is the best style you should adopt? You will learn more about different styles of leadership, including your own style. What's your style of leading, right? We'll look at how your leadership style affects group dynamics. We'll see how it affects the way you do things around in various areas, and then how you're able to ensure that you get the kind of results you want at that point. Tomorrow, we shall look at developing emotional intelligence, EQ. You understand the relationship between EQ and leadership effectiveness. How can you become and move from being a manager to being a leader at that point in time? Then on Thursday, we shall look at how you can motivate others. We explore key questions and certain trending topics around the environment, things that are shaping how cultures, team work, and how to build an environment that ensures that people are motivated and want to work and do great things. Then finally, we shall manage change. We'll learn best practices of how to bring about change at your own organization. And then you can continue to drive results as much as possible as you make progress in those particular areas of your change management. So the things we've said so far, in your leadership styles and emotional intelligence, we'll look at the difference also between a leader and a manager when it comes to emotional intelligence. We'll look at, go through a series of hands-on activities to help you appreciate this the more. And then understand yourself as a leader. We'll do a few assessments and see how that creates awareness for you. Then we'll look at leading organizational change, and we'll invite you to dive deeper into this particular area to ensure that we drive organizational change as much as possible. Then you'll explore key questions and trending topics to consider when it comes to shaping your effectiveness and organizational team at that point in time. So those are the things that we're going to cover in our various sessions. We are going to have each module will feature some videos. You're going to watch some videos down the line, some self-assessment, group activities, and some interactive sessions. And we'll allocate you will need to allocate like 2 to 3 hours each week to be able to digest some of the things we've said, because the videos will be recorded and shared with you later, so you can continue to learn more from what has been covered in this particular session. Okay, so let's go back again. I said that we will come back to this particular slide. Now it's your turn to speak. It's your turn to share. What do you want to take away from this session? What do you want to learn? What do you want to be able to do at the end of this particular session? I will await your feedback. So you have the floor. Please type or chat or speak what your learning expectation is from this particular program.
Hello, Mr. Joe. Hello, Mr. Joy.
I can hear you. Will that be Kevin or is that Kabir?
Kabir.
Kabir, beautiful.
Thank you. So one of the things I want to learn, the ability to be able to manage every situation, whether good or bad, that happens in workplace, at home, or also have the ability to correct people, make changes, impact, make impact in people's life positively.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. You will find answers to those questions in our session very clearly. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Kabir. Who else? Yes, who wants to share? We should get at least 4 persons sharing. We've gotten 1. 3 more persons, please. Okay, Tammy says to become a better decision maker. Thank you. We'll have a specific area where we discuss decision making, and we'll have a framework around it also. Thanks a lot. Yes. Jane, did I see you? You wanted to speak? Okay, so we need 1 more person, 1 or 2 persons to share. What do you want to take away from our session? What do you want to take away from this particular session? Thank you, Gloria. To be a more effective leader through understanding how to manage others. Thank you very much. Jasmine says she would like to learn strategies on being organized to lead. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, beautiful. We'll examine that. Yes, we'll examine that. Effective leadership, understanding people. When we discuss emotional intelligence, we look at that a lot. Being well organized, yes, we also look at that when we look at the leadership styles, the different leadership styles that we have. Okay, thank you all for sharing. So let's get back into our conversation. If you share more later, we'll take that conversation down the line. Okay, I think 1 more thought has come in. Let's see. Okay, Jane says, I hope to be a better leader by working together without burning bridges. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, there's a story of leaders who climb up the ladder and then forget that there are people on the ladder while they were climbing. So when they were coming down, those people removed the rungs and they fell down all the way flat on the ground. So yes, it's important to climb without burning bridges. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start our conversation. The first conversation today is, what is leadership? So we've spoken a lot around leadership. What exactly is leadership? What does leadership mean? If you're asked to classify it and to describe it, what exactly does leadership mean? What is the implication? How does that create value for us in our conversation at this point in time? If you look at our picture, what do you see at play here? What do you see in this particular picture? What do you see? Can you describe the picture? Can someone help us to describe the picture you see? And I need the person to unmute and speak. What do you see?
Hello, hello, good morning, everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so I can see a mother that is leading her children on a right direction. So the children are being followed, are following the mother. So I can see a role model or something.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, who else wants to share? Okay, because I say you should unmute yourself and speak. Okay, you can chat. What do you see from this particular picture? Okay, I'll come back to your chat down the line, and then we'll take your shares at that point in time. Have you noticed that the ducklings, that there are 10 of them? Have you noticed that they are all in a row, one straight line? Have you also noticed That the mom is not looking backward. What else have you noticed? I've just shared like 4 different things I noticed. What else have you noticed? What else have you noticed? Again, I leave it up to you, depending on what you've noticed. I have a list here of about 10 different things on this particular script. I've shared about 3 of them. Gloria has shared 1. We'll come back again, depending on what you've shared. It's up to you to discover the other 6 as we push on our discussion. By definition, what exactly is leadership? Well, according to Blanchard, he said that leadership is not something you do. It is something you do with people.
Yep.
Take note of that conversation. It says leadership is not something you do to people. It is something you do with people. What's the difference between to and with? What's the difference between to and with? All right, so if you're asked what is the difference between to and with, what will you say? To refers to handing down. With refers to collaboration. Hand in hand. Is that not so? Yes. And that is the primary definition or the primary difference when it comes to our conversation around leadership. So what is leadership? First, leadership refers to you influencing others in order for them to achieve a goal. Leadership is you influencing others to achieve a goal. Have you noticed that there are 3 items here? 1 is you. There is no leadership without the leader. Is that not so? We won't be discussing leadership if there's nobody leading. 2 is followers, others. There's no leadership conversation without followers. You will not say, I'm a leader. When I say, okay, where are your followers? It's like saying, I'm a general. Where are your troops? Or I am CEO. Where are your employees? So those are examples of the comparison between the leader and his followers. Now, you cannot have leadership if there is no goal. There is no leadership if there is no goal. There must be a goal. That is why we are leading. So leadership defines very clearly a goal that we must achieve at that point in time. And let me adjust that a lot. Leadership can also be influencing others to achieve a goal fully, carefully, well. Some people achieve a goal, but they don't achieve it completely. Have you noticed that a lot of people are trying to build houses? Have you noticed the number of uncompleted buildings in various areas? That's an example of a goal that was not fully achieved. Carefully, have you noticed that some leaders who lead their team, that their team are not happy with them? And at the end of the day, there's always fracas, there's always bottleneck, there's always animosity and annoyance between them and the people that they have led. Finally, have you also noticed that some leadership is not done very well? You say, yes, he did it, but it's not worth clapping for. Because when we spoke about excellence earlier, excellence requires you to, at the end of the day, to applaud for that particular individual for the superior results the person has achieved, the person has delivered at that point in time. And so you say the person has done very well. Let me adjust it a little bit more. So you care about others, right? And believe they can achieve a goal. So this is a paradigm shift, a mindset shift for the leader. The leader must consciously believe that the team he is leading has the capacity to deliver the results, and he must show care to that particular team. He must show care to that particular team as much as possible. Okay, so I have defined my own leadership. It's your turn to define leadership. What will you say leadership is? Let me give you a blank space. What is leadership? What is leadership? Feel free to tell us what leadership is to you. If you wish, you can type on our screen. I've enabled annotation. You can use the text if you're used to it. You can type. So you can type here. Feel free. I've enabled it for you. So what would you say leadership is? Waiting for your response. Either chat it, type it on the screen, or you can unmute and speak. What would you say leadership is? And just in case you have network issues, don't worry. You can reconnect again if you are disconnected. And bear with me in case I am also disconnected. I will find a way of reconnecting. I will continue from where we stopped. Either way, the video recording continues. Yes, so what is leadership? Yes, can we get 2 or 3 responses? What is leadership? What is leadership? You don't have to Google it. Just say whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't have to be perfect. Thanks for having us. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, Kebir speaking here.
Okay.
Okay. Based on a layman definition, leadership is a process of controlling, coordinating, managing, implementing, and also discipline in a workplace, in an organization, or in the political party, or in any way you find yourself.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. Controlling, organizing, disciplining, as the case may be, to achieve the results you want. Thanks. In the chat, James says leadership is influencing others. The act of influencing others. So influence defines leadership. Gloria says leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence and guide followers or other members of an organization, okay, so that they can achieve a particular result. Again, this brings us back to the same conversation that leadership is influence. Please write this down. As you progress in your career in life, if you are asked what leadership is, anywhere you find yourself, it is enough to just simply say leadership is influence. There is no leadership without influence. Because leadership influences in order to deliver the kind of results that is expected. So leadership clearly requires a measure of influence to deliver the results that is expected at that point in time. Thank you all for contributing. So let me clear my annotation. So let's look at further definition of leadership. So leadership refers to the ability to bring people to work together. Together is underlined. And efficiently for a common goal. Common goal is underlined. When Kabir spoke, he spoke about discipline. He spoke about organizing. That's an example of trying to get work done together and efficiently. When Gloria defined leadership, she said they are pursuing a goal, to achieve a goal at the end of the day in the organization. Second definition of leadership. Leadership is the ability to get other people to follow you. Underline the words, follow you. Which, when Jane was speaking, she said influence, right? And then to willingly do what you want them to do. Willingly. you know that there are a lot of leaders that have followers that are not following them willingly. Is that also? Take, for example, let's go home. Parents. That time when a parent, a mom or a dad tells the child to go and do something and the child is and is carrying it and is going to do it. Is the father not a leader or is the mother not a leader? They are leaders. But the person following them, is the person following them willingly at that point? Very clearly, the child is not doing it willingly. Like Kabir says, both in the political environment, in the office environment, and in the other environment. Let's look at the political environment. Have you noticed that sometimes our regulatory authorities say we should not do some things, and then you see some people who are struggling, they want to do it. They will be checking whether the authorities are there. For example, do not take one way. Have you noticed that when people want to take one way, they look around first whether the authorities are there? And then in their day-to-day conversations, they are always talking about how they disagree with government, yet they are doing what government says. That's an example of having followers that are following you unwillingly. However, true leadership involves influencing people to willingly do what you expect them to do at that point in time. I'd like to do some 10 minutes exercise with you. In this particular exercise, we're going to look at the dining table. Every house has a dining table, or back in those days, every house has a dining table. Modern houses today, most of them don't have dining table. I don't know whether you have a dining table in your house, where when it's time for food, all of us come to the table and eat. While I was younger and growing up in my family, we had a big dining table. Our dining table seats 12 persons. Yes, we are plenty in our house back in those days. And usually it's a rounded table where we have a lot of people. There's a lot of family gist when we're eating because we always eat together from that table. And then there's a lot of thoughts and conversations that is had at that particular table. Well, but pack those values together and it has gone off the window. Today's world, that does not exist. Today, a lot of people eat independently, no gist, no discussion. But during our times in those days, the food is even served in a tray, giant tray, all of us will eat from it. Or a big pot, all of us will eat from it. But today, everybody gets his plate, solo. Even in some cases, fathers and mothers, who are supposed to be very close, they also eat solo. And then they eat on their own plates at that point in time. But let me leave family alone. Let me come back to the work environment. Let me look at you. It's you I'm talking about at this point in time. So my question to you is, who is at your table? Imagine, if you will, that your dining table has 8 chairs, 3 by the side, 3 by the side. Okay, no, let me reduce it. Today's families are very small. So 6 chairs, 2 by the side here, 2 by the side here, 1 at the other end, 1 in front of this place. And you are sitting here. I hope you can see my annotation. This is you. You are sitting at this point in time. So you are sitting on the table there. All right. And then the other 5 chairs are empty. The other 5 chairs are empty. I am going to ask you to do this exercise with me. Think very carefully. I am asking, who are your role models? Who is on your dining table with you? Who are you dining from? Who are you dining with? Who is your role model? Who is the person? Could be a president, could be a politician, a religious leader, all right? The person could be a business mogul, your parents, your siblings, your friend. It could be somebody that knows you or somebody that does not know anything about you. The person has never met you before. Okay? It could be somebody you have met. It could be somebody in this country. It could be somebody in another country. It could be somebody who is dead. It could be somebody who is alive. My question to you, from who are you learning your leadership skills of today? Who are you learning from that is teaching you leadership today, that you're learning from, that has made you who you are in terms of leadership? If you are asked to list 6 persons, okay, let's say 5 persons, list 5 persons who have made you leadership, who has created leadership in you, that you learn from regularly on a daily basis, on a periodic basis, all right? That is informing who you have become as a leader today, who will be on your list? Who will you put on your leadership team? Let's do this exercise. So take a piece of notes by your side, take your notebook, and write down 5 leadership icons that you respect the most, that you're learning from, you're following from, that you're adjusting from. I'll give you 5 minutes to do that. Now, when you write the name of the person, beside him, write what you're learning from him. You can say, Joel, what are you learning from? Remember what I said initially, that 3 things that describe me. You're learning passion, or you're learning professionalism, or you're learning excellence. So you write the next person's name, you write what you're learning from the person. Let's do this exercise. 5 minutes. If you are like me, the first 3 is easy to write. You can easily remember who the first 3 individuals who are leadership icons that you're learning from. But I'm sure by the time you get to the 4th one and the 5th one, it'll be taking a while to be able to do it. I do this every January of every year. I write down 5 leadership icons that I want to learn from this year. All right, so let me see what names you have. Who wants to share? Who are your leadership icons? Who is on your leadership table? Who wants to share with us? Who wants to share? So what are the names you've written? So type them on the chat. What are the names you've written? What are some of the leadership icons you've written? Yes, okay. Tammy, you want to speak?
Yes. Okay. So, the leaders I have at my table, the first leader I wrote is Joel, leading professionals and learning professionalism and business strength from. The second person is Kehinde Alade. I'm learning nurturing, and third person is Indidi Inumeli. I'm learning agribusiness strength and acumen from her. The fourth person is Fumi Akonde. I'm learning excellence and compassion from her. And the fourth person would be my pastor. I'm learning on discipleship and excellence.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Your table is busy. I can see your dining table full of people sharing thoughts with you, and you're absorbing from them. Thanks. Yes. Who else wants to share? Can we have 2 or 3 other persons share? Yes. Who else wants to share? Who's on your leadership table? Yes. Who wants to share? Who's on your leadership table? So Ruth, Gloria, Jasmine, Jane, Kabir, and Kelvin. Who do you have on your leadership table? It is very dangerous for your leadership table to be empty. Very dangerous for you to be eating alone. You know the expression, chop alone? So who wants to share? Can we get 1 or 2 persons to share? Who is on your leadership table? Okay, beautiful. So we have Ruth says, Joel, hardworking, passion, patience. Okay. Oprah Winfrey says resilience. Okay, Ruth says Oprah Winfrey, she's learning resilience and determination from her. She also says she's learning from Suliat, calmness, patience, and from her parents, honesty, integrity. From Oma Williams, passion, hardworking, goal-getting. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right? Very packed. Yes. Thank you. 1 more person before we advance. 1 more person before we advance. Can we get 1 more person to share what's on your leadership table? Who is on your leadership table? Who are you learning from? Whether the people know you or they don't know you, whether they are dead or they are alive, whether they are nearby or they are far away, religious or non-religious, business or political, anyone. Who are you learning from?
Hello.
Hello, yes, please, go ahead.
Oh, okay. The first person on my table is
Okay, would this be Kabir or Kelvin?
Oh, okay, Kelvin.
Beautiful, Kelvin, welcome.
Thank you. Okay, the first person is Dr. Miles Moran. Okay, so his spirituality and his teachings and confidence.
Okay.
Okay, the second person is Kevin Kamal. That was my past GM, which passed on last year.
Okay.
Yeah, his influence, and he guide every person under him to achieve a common goal. He's a great leader. And the third person is my pastor. Okay, his spiritual teachings, his confidence, and honesty.
Thank you so much.
Then Barack Obama. Okay, confidence, boldness. Also, he's a pace setter. And I think that's all I have. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 persons.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Welcome.
So since you've shared, let me also quickly share. In January this year, in my list, the first person I had is Jesus. And why do I have Jesus on my list? Patience and kindness. Second person I have on my list is Obama, which was why I smiled or I laughed when you mentioned Obama. What am I picking up from Obama? His oratory, the way he speaks. You can't listen to him and not want to listen to him again, right? The third person I have on my list is Tony Olumelu, the business mogul.
Business guru.
Yes, Tony Olumelu, his ability to put platforms in place in such a way that people are connected to that platform and is able to get results through it. The fourth person I have on my list is Steve Jobs. Highly creative, highly innovative, and there is no solution he brings to the market that people do not like or find useful at that point in time. So I am learning that from him. Then the fifth person on my list this year will shock you a little bit, Osama bin Laden. Why do I have Osama bin Laden on my list, despite the fact that people feel and know that he's a negative individual? Well, Osama is an example of a leader that after he has died and left, people are still dying for the cause he was pursuing back in those days. People are still killing themselves following his cause that he has put in place. It would be a bad idea to influence people to a point that people are willing to follow you even after you're no longer there at that point in time. Thank you very much for sharing with me your leaders on your table and the things you're learning from those particular leaders. So I will encourage you to think very deeply and ensure that you internalize and make it useful to you, these particular leaders that you have on your table, so you can gain the best from them at every point in time within your organization. So learn to put it down. Learn to put it down. Some of the individuals you've mentioned, you may never meet them. One way you can learn from those individuals is to look at documentaries on them. If they've written books, read their books, right? If there are life stories around them, follow those life stories. Follow them on YouTube, follow them on the social media platforms and see what they are doing. If possible, replicate what they do. And as you replicate what they do, you too will get the kind of success that they are getting down the line in your own personal life as you continue to move as a great leader. Okay, so let's come back again to clarify.
Okay, leadership people.
Can you want to speak?
What do they think? Did they get? So like people like put your right for ground. Well, say Mufti Mix, Islamic scholar. I'm reading books from my.
Okay. So on the leadership definition, another part of defining leadership is that leadership is creating and communicating meaning. The ability to create and communicate meaning. Second thing is that leadership must show genuine care for and about people. Note, we didn't say leadership should care about people. We said they must show genuine, sincere care, right, about people. There must be external focus of leadership. Leadership must externally focus. It's not a me first kind of leader. A leader that chops first before he ensures that his people chops. Imagine a parent, a mom or a dad that first they will eat before they give their children. Have you noticed that kind of parents? Rarely. Parents always give their children first to eat. And in some cases, when it's not enough, the parents go to bed hungry. The awareness of the big picture, of the future that you're going to. So they ensure that they deliver the results they are supposed to deliver, and they are clear about what needs to be achieved within the organization at that point in time. The second one is showing genuine care for people. And this involves, as much as possible, that leaders must know their people. You cannot say you care about somebody if you do not know anything about that individual. What do you know about your people? What do you know about the team members that work with you? How do you show that you care about the people that work with you? Do you know their personal problems? Do you know their pains? Do you know the issues they are going through at that point in time? How can you then show influence and leadership for an individual you do not understand his personal realities? You must involve your people in the things you do. That way they feel engaged, they feel empowered, and they feel that you show care for them at that point in time. Then you must trust your people. You must trust that your people will do a good job and allow them to fly and make corrections every once now and then on what they are doing. And then you show them that you value them as much as possible. These are indications of your leadership progress, that you show you care about them as much as possible. The next one is on external focus. External focus. Great leaders look outside their organization to examine threats. What are the things that will threaten the survival of the organization, that can bring an end to the organization? They look out for opportunities the organization can take advantage of through their SWOT analysis, all right? Then they benchmark information based on what they see is happening out there, and they bring it on board into the organization so that they can benefit from it also. Okay, and then they try as much as possible to ensure that they have happy and loyal customers. Please note, you can have unhappy customers who are loyal. You can also have loyal customers who are unhappy. Let's explain. If the product or service you bring to the market, you are the only one who have that particular product, then customers will come to you whether they want to or they don't want to. So even when you're not serving them well, they may be unhappy, but they are loyal. Why are they loyal? Why are they loyal? No choice. They don't have an alternative. You can also have customers who are happy, but disloyal. They are happy about what you're doing and what you're serving them. They praise you regularly. That organization, they are doing very well. That their leader is a great guy. But they take their businesses to another place. Most probably because you are not meeting their expectation at the level they expect it. They are happy that you're doing something, but it is not enough to attract them, to keep them working with you at that point in time. The fourth area of leadership definition is awareness of the big picture. A great leader will be able to understand the overall context of the organization and the environment that the organization is operating on. How much of things like political, The political environment, do you understand? You hear all the things happening in politics today. How much of it do you know that is affecting your organization? 2, how much of the economic crisis that is going on are you aware of and how it is impacting your organization? As a leader, you must understand this as much as possible. Or is it the legal issues around you or the technological advancement? Each of these are things you must demonstrate understanding of in order to lead your organization successfully. Then you must translate the external context into meaningful forms for your staff, for your team members. So when you engage with them, you show them very clearly the implication of these things to them. Then you must align the organization with trends that add value to the organization. What are trends that add value to your organization currently? You must align with those particular trends. Then you must take a strategic view of the activities of your organization so you can deliver the most value to your organization at that point in time. Last one, clarity and honesty of communication. Great leaders must tell the truth and nothing but the truth. You must have transparent communication processes within your organization. Your organization must not be shrouded in secrecy. Or if you're a team leader, your team members must not be seeing you as a secret person. You must not operate a culture of blame. You'll be pointing fingers. It is that person. It is that person. When you have a culture of blame, people will not be excited to follow you in your environment. Also, do not practice scapegoating. Scapegoating is a scenario where you're looking for who to punish and waiting for you. Don't worry. One person will make the mistake, I'll catch the person. When you begin to do that, you put your team members on the edge where they become too careful and they are not natural. They are not their real self because they are afraid of making a mistake or being made a scapegoat of in the organization at that point in time. Then speak in unambiguous, plain language. Make sure that your speech, your thoughts, your expressions are very clear and they are unambiguous. And it brings to the table very clearly what your employees expect to hear from you at that point. Don't when you finish speaking, people go and be checking dictionary to check what you meant. Or when you finish speaking, they will not talk to the other person, what did Oga say? This thing that Oga said, what does he mean? Please be very clear. Be as clear as Obama. If possible, when you're speaking, speak 3 times. What does speaking 3 times mean? So if you want to talk to your team members, you call the person together, you call your team together, you tell them, assuming you're going to speak to Joe, you say, please team, I have something I want to talk to you people about. I want to talk to you about X, Y, Z. You see, what you have done is to introduce the topic that you want to discuss. You have captured their attention, so they have your attention. Then you go ahead and explain X, Y, Z. Do you know that X, Y, Z is this, is that, is this, is this? Then X, Y, Z became this. X, Y, Z delivered this. X, Y, Z is this. You see, you have explained X, Y, Z to them, so they know X, Y, Z. That's the second part of communication. The third part of communication is to summarize or remind your people what you have said. So, okay, guys, what I just spoke about is X, Y, Z. And so we agree that X, Y, Z is X, Y, Z. Thank you. There is no way your team members will walk away from you and X, Y, Z will not be in their head. In fact, right now, I have said X, Y, Z so much that you already know what X, Y, Z is. I'm sure if they ask you about communication, one of the things that will come to your mind is X, Y, Z because of the way I have used it in this illustration. Another way to ensure that you are not ambiguous in your language when you discuss with your team members is to invite feedback from your team members. Ask your team members to tell you what you have spoken to them. So if you have had a conversation with your team members, you tell them, okay, before you go, tell me what did we agree? Then let the person paraphrase the agreement of the conversation you've had with that individual. That way it is clear about what has been agreed and said. Not after the person left, he will not go and do something else. So you now engage, why did you do this? This is not what we agreed. Say, okay, I thought you said that there's no thinking or thoughting. Let the person be clear before the person walks away from your presence. That way you reduce issues when it comes to your delivery within your organization at most point in time. Now, leadership cuts through your organization, and the organization needs to have leadership because leaders provide three things. And when Kabir was speaking initially today, when it defined leadership, he mentioned direction. Leadership must direct. What does directing mean? Directing means showing the way where we must go to. So leadership must provide you with that particular direction. The leadership must motivate you, must inspire you to move forward. And then leadership must inspire you. Question: what is the difference between motivating and inspiring? It's your turn to speak. What's the difference between motivate and inspire? What will you say? So what will you say is the difference between motivating and inspiring? So we are looking for the difference between these two. What is the difference? Or are they the same thing? Is motivating inspiring? What's the difference, or what we say he is inspiring or he's motivating? What do we mean? What does the word motivating or inspiring, what does it mean? Even if you don't know, just check Google. What does it mean to motivate or inspire? Yes, 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 yes. The comment is expected.
Like
Tell me you're not clear. It's not clear. Can you try it again?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, although it's breaking. Yes, so try again. What's the difference between motivating and inspiring? Are you there, Kevin? Jasmine? Yes, Tammy. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think to motivate someone is more or less to give someone a reason to do something. So motivation is more like an external thing, and inspiration is more of internal. You're inspired to want to do something, or you see something that inspires you to want to achieve or be something.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on motivating and inspiring?
Hello, everyone.
Yes, Gloria.
So for me, I will see inspiring as the way things are being done. Like, okay, I see this person, the way this person does things, I'm inspired by that person. This person does things in a particular way that suits me, and because of that, So I want to also do things like the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So motivation works on your attitude.
Perfection, and somebody does things. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're done. So motivation works on your attitude. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Gloria.
Okay, so like
Okay, while Gloria's voice is still coming up, Ruth says motivation is the process of encouraging someone to act in a definite way, to believe, to achieve a goal. And inspiration has to do with influencing someone mentally and emotionally to do something creative. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Okay, so motivation has to do with your attitude. Motivation has to do with your willingness to do something. So you need someone to motivate you, to make you willing to do it. Before you're motivated, you know you can do it, or you've done it before, but you just need an external thing or an internal thing to make you choose to do it. Motivation is a choice of action. So you need someone to give you that push for you to get it done. Inspiration, on the other hand, works on your belief system. It works on your perception of the possibility of something. So you need somebody to inspire you, to speak to your mind the possibility of the fact that you can achieve something, you can do something. And so when you start telling yourself, I can do it, is inspiration. Because previously, the perception was that it might not have been possible for you. So you need leaders who would not only help you to change your attitude towards a right willingness to do something. You also need leaders who can engage you and increase your belief system to a point where your belief system is strong enough for you to try something new at that point in time. These allow ordinary people within the organization to produce extraordinary results in the organization in the long term. So in understanding leadership, leadership is the ingredient, the essential ingredient that turns our vision in the organization into reality, into plans of reality and results. Effective leaders harness the energies and gain the commitments of their people towards great achievements. This is what is required. The leadership is the ability to get others to do willingly the things that you want them to do, willingly for them to achieve the results that you want them to achieve at that point in time. That is leadership. And the key elements are therefore things like vision. There's no leadership without vision. Clarity in knowing direction, in knowing what needs to be done and how it is done. Then motivation, spurring people to work with you in order to achieve that particular vision. Now let's look at three things that makes a great leader. Three things that makes a great leader. The first one is traits. A trait is what you are born with. A trait is what you are born with. Some people are born with a lot of energy. Have you noticed that some small babies, when they are growing up, they are running around, destroying things, scattering things everywhere in the house? Have you noticed some babies like that? That's called a trait. Have you also noticed that there are some other babies, they just sit quiet in one corner of the house? Baby, come and eat. You say, yes, mommy, you will come and eat. Baby, do you want to sleep? No, mommy. That's the trait of that particular baby. The baby is a quiet individual. That's what we refer to as traits. Another thing that makes leaders effective is their behavior. Behaviors are things you have learned over time and has conditioned the way you do things. We are molded. The way you be molded becomes your behavior at that point. Then the last part that makes an effective leader is situation. Situation. The environment you find yourself in. The circumstance you find yourself in. That is situation. Let me take the first one. Traits. Traits approach. According to this approach, leaders are what? Leaders are born. Remember, I gave the example of the quiet child and the active child. So people claim and say that leaders are born. That's what the trait approach says. It says that leaders are generally born. Are you a born leader? Ask yourself, were you born from childhood, from day one as a leader? Or did you grow up gradually to become a leader? These traits of being a born leader approach includes the following. Intelligence. People are born with intelligence. Some people are born with high IQ. Some are born with relatively low IQ. Initiative. There are some people who take initiative. All right? Self-confidence. Some people are very self-confident. They are bold, as the case may be. They can challenge anybody. They can challenge any authority. It's just the traits that they have. It's not like that they are being disrespectful. It's just who they are. And sometimes we misinterpret their traits as being disrespectful. Maturity is also a trait. There are some individuals that you see them, they are 50 years old, but they are playing and behaving like someone that knows nothing. They are behaving like an Olodo, if I may use that particular expression. That's an indication that the person has not matured. And sometimes you hear in social conversations, say, when will this person grow up? That's an indication that generally we feel that the person is not matured enough. Then people skills. There are some people who are very good with relationship management, interpersonal skills. They have good rapport with other people. They can speak, they can talk, they can engage with individuals. It's easy for them to have fun with other individuals. That's called people skills. You'll find it in traits. Do you have people skill? Are you the kind of person that once you come in where a group is, the group wakes up? Conversation starts going on because you enter. Are you the type that when you enter a group, the groups dies down because you do not contribute into the conversation at that particular time? Then organizational capability. Jasmine said earlier that she would like to learn how to be more organized. This is a trait. Sometimes people are born with being organized. There are some individuals, once you see them, they pack things, they arrange things everywhere they are. Things are always arranged. While there are some individuals that they are always scattered. If you try to arrange them, the more you arrange them, the more disorganized they are. So those are issues of traits, accordingly. The second one is behavior. And like we said, behavior, there are two groups of behaviors. Task-related behavior and people-related behavior. Let's look at task-related behavior. Task-related behavior are things like the ability to plan. You see, planning is not something we are born with. That's why we say behavior are things you learn from growing up, things you're taught, things you pick on the road as you grow up. The ability to resource, the ability to get things done. As a growing up child, sometimes parents tell their children, clean up your room, pack your toys, put your things together. The more a child learns to do those things and begins to do it without anybody telling that particular person, the child grows up with what we call GTD. GTD is getting things done. Google it up. Write it down and later Google it up. Just type GTD. One of the things that show up on Google is getting things done. It's a discipline today. A self-discipline that people have to develop. The second behavioral approach is the people-related approach, which says, are you able to gain the support of other people? Are you able to gain the commitment of people as a leader? Do people rally around behind you and say, we support you, we are behind you, let's go, let's move, let's make this happen? Are you able to motivate others to want to do that which you have asked them to do at that point in time, so that they are willing to work with you and generate the kind of results you expect to generate? That's an example of a people-related behavior. The last one is situation, the situational approach. The situational approach says that the leadership style shown depends on the situation that the leader is in question at that point in time. This situation depends on the nature of the task. If the task is easy, the approach of the leader is going to be easy. If the task has a short time to do it, the approach, the situational approach will require the leader to be fast, to be quick, to hurry people, to be impatient, to get it done. But if the task has a lot of time to do it, the leader can take his time, can endure any mistakes that the followers are making at that point in time. Those are the various definitions when it comes to this particular area. The second one, when it comes to the situational issue, is the expectations of the followers. What do the followers expect from doing this particular thing? What do the followers expect from the leader? Take an audit. Take a survey, perhaps not an audit. Survey, write a survey, send it out to Nigerians. What is your expectation of leadership in Nigeria? Has the leadership of Nigeria taken their time to survey and ask the followers, what do you people want from us? What do you want from me as your leader? That's an example of listening to the expectations of the followers. The third part of the situational approach is the characteristics of the people you are leading. Note, when you lead people who are educated, it is different from when you lead people who are not educated. Your leadership style will be completely different. Assuming you're a manager in the office and you're managing people who are in charge of, let's say, creative, graphic design, and social media, the way you will manage those people is not the way you manage people who are outside, who do not work in the office. For example, drivers and laborers. You cannot manage drivers and laborers the way you manage your graphic designer and your digital marketer. You see, the characteristics of the followers determines the leadership style you're going to bring to the table. Another thing to emphasize to help you get this point home as much as possible, the characteristics of the followers. When you manage young people, Generation X or Generation Y and Generation Z, is going to be different with the way you manage baby boomers, older individuals. Your style and approach will be completely different for you to get results as much as possible. Finally, the way you manage Nigerians is different from the way you manage Ghanaians. The average Nigerian is in a hurry, always rushing. But the average Ghanaian is cool, calm, he's not in a hurry. If you push it, tell Chale, what's the hurry? Calm down, calm down. So that's an example. The kind of people you're leading, the characteristics of the people you're leading determines effectively who you lead and how you lead those particular individuals. Now, your authority arises in the situation due to, look, when it comes to situational leadership, your authority to lead arises from, one, your knowledge, what you know. It's because you know something, that's why we're following you. If you don't know, we will not follow you. So because of what you know, that's why we're following you. So in certain situations, there needs a leader who is educated, who is informed, who is experienced. We will follow you because of that experience. Ask yourself, as a leader today in your office, in your church, in your location, wherever you are people following you because of what you know, because of your experience, because of your background? The second reason why people may follow you under a situation is the position you occupy. You are a manager, you are head of department, you are unit head, you are CEO, you are MD. People are following you because of that particular position you occupy at that point in time. The third authority you can get that makes it easy for people to follow you is your personality. And your personality speaks to your charisma. It speaks to the way you carry yourself, the way you comport yourself, the way you bring yourself to the table. A few days ago in our office, we had a training program that is called Executive Presence. And in that particular program, the facilitator made it very clear that your personality speaks to whether people will respect you. So what kind of personality are you projecting? Are you projecting a personality of tushness, cleanness, sharp, smart? Or are you projecting a personality of a lackadaisical attitude? Anyhow, you just appear, you just show. Or you take your time, you calculate, you think ahead. I might meet the president there. Let me look like somebody the president will talk to. Or do you say, after all, I'm going to Sunday market in the evening, so I can look anyhow, it's market I'm going to. What if on your way to that particular market, you now meet that personality? That is why your personality is very important everywhere you are. And when we talk about personality, it's not about your physical look. It's also your attitude. It's also your behavior at that point in time. So summarizing what we have said on this particular area, current thinking is that an effective leader possesses key characteristics from the traits approach. 2, skills and behaviors from the behavioral approach. And 3, uses the combination of these traits and behaviors where appropriate to respond to the situations that he finds himself at that point in time. All right, so we have come to the end of the introduction of our program. I'll take any questions. Do you have any questions, any concerns? What have you learned so far? So if you don't have any questions, my question for you is, what have you learned so far? So all of us sign in here, please share. You must type something or mute yourself and speak. What have you learned so far? Tammy, Ruth, Gloria, Jane, Jasmine, Kabir, Kelvin, what have you learned so far?
Okay, I think one thing I've learned is deliberately looking at those I have on my leadership table and giving me time to think. And I've even added more people to my 5 list of people, thinking of, okay, who are those I surround myself with? What exactly am I learning from them? And how can I improve my feeding from them?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful. All right. On that particular table, try not to have more than 8 of them. All right. So that you can concentrate on learning from them. You can always carry over next year and add other people next year when you finish learning from others. Thanks very much, Tammy. Who else? Yes. Ruth, Gloria, Jasmine, Jane, Kasim, Kelvin.
Okay, hello everyone.
Yes, Gloria.
So for me, I've learned the aspect of the influence. Knowing that the influencing people is now about how you drag people to do what you actually want them to do. It's actually about allowing them to have ownership of what is on their table and then take absolute control of it. So that's the best of leaders. So leadership is not about you micromanaging your team. You understand? Yes, following through is there. You need to follow through to know where they are, but trying to always know where, in terms of, okay, somebody that let me use a secretary as an information as an example now. A secretary that's supposed to write a memo or a letter, draft a letter, and after drafting the letter, the boss is always encountering what he or she has written, rather than trying to help the person to improve. So for me, leadership is about trying to help the other person to improve and to be a better person. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Gloria. Yes, more. What else? What have you learned? What have you learned from this session? Yes, Ruth.
Okay, for me, I've learned two things. First of all, for me to be a good leader, I need to show understanding. I need to understand the people I'm leading, understand their background, understand where they are coming from, understand their challenges. That will help me be a good leader. Another thing that I need to also understand is that as a leader, I need to motivate. I need to motivate the people I'm leading. I need to be an influence on them by setting a good example. If I show a good example, then people can learn easily from me without even me saying anything.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Yes. More comments. Thanks, Ruth. Yes, more comments. What have you learned so far in our past 2 hours of discussion? Okay, can we have one more person share? Okay, beautiful. So in another 10 minutes, I'm going to request for all of us to open up your video. We shall see all of us in 10 minutes time. So this is 12:03 at 12:13. I will request for you to open up your videos so we can see you. So get ready for that. That's why I'm telling you in advance as we get to that point in time. Okay. So we'll now come to our second discussion today. Our second discussion today is going to center on understanding organizational styles. What are the various leadership styles that you have? And how can you use that to effect and produce good results as you lead yourself and lead others professionally? In particular, the key questions that we ask under personality, leadership styles, and personality is how much of your leadership behavior is driven by your environment? The way you're acting, the way you're behaving, how much of that is influenced by the environment you are in? Is it your office that is making you talk the way you speak? Is it the place you live that is making you act and behave the way you're behaving? Those are environmental issues. How much of your leadership behavior is driven by your own preference? Do you like people coming to greet you every morning? You know, there are some leaders, once they come to office in the morning, they expect that all their team members will come to them, they take turns, come to their office. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Or good morning, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. So that's what they prefer. Or are you the kind of leader that prefers in the morning, you don't want anybody to disturb you? You want to think and work. In the afternoon, in the evening, they can bring jobs to you. Is that your style? There's another leader that in the morning, that's when he wants to work with his team members. Is that your style? Another leader also who will prefer to catch up, check his email, read newspaper, watch CNN. Then in the afternoon from 4 o'clock, he begins to call meeting for his staff. Is that your own style? How can you learn about others' preferences? The team members you're leading, how can you learn about their preferences in order to more effectively lead them, manage them, and to collaborate with them effectively? These are critical things that will help us to achieve more at this point in time in our conversation. Okay, so those are requirements for us to be successful. I am going to give you a case study. You are going to read this later somewhere. And then when you're done, you will answer the questions that come with it. But I'll just focus on this particular one. So let's talk about this one. Think of a leader for whom or with whom you have worked with in the past. One that brought out the best in you, one that you would gladly work again with. Please write the person's names down. One person. Think of one person that you have worked with in the past or that brought out the best in you. Whether the person is your parents, your religious leader, anybody that person is. but it's a leader that brought out the best in you. Write the person's name down. 2, think of a leader for whom or with whom you had worked with in the past. One that you are trying to avoid today. If you hear the person is coming from the right, you will dodge from the left. You don't want to see the person again, and you don't want to work with the person again. Also write the person's name down. Question. And this is what I want you to answer. So you're going to volunteer and answer in the next 1 minute. When you were around them, what did they say to you? How did they make you feel? How did they make you feel and make others feel also around them? Why is it that you like to work with them again? Why is it that you don't want to work with them again? So look at those 2 names you've written down. Keep that confidential to you. So on the left hand, the person you have written that you would like to work with, you would like to see again, because the person brought out the best in you. On the other hand, the person that you wrote about that you didn't like, that the person made you not feel good, that you don't want to work with the person again. Look at those 2 people. Why or what did they do that made them good? Or what did they do that made them not so good, for which you don't want to work with them again? So let's share. Except if you have never worked with any good or bad leader before. All your leaders has been middle road. They are not good, they are not bad, they are just okay. But if you have worked with a good leader and a bad leader, let's share. What are some of the things you know that those leaders did that made them look bad or made them look good? Yes, anybody can share. Let's see if we can get some contribution to this conversation.
So, sir, I want to understand. Are we to mention their names or just what we learned?
No, don't mention their name. Just tell us what made them good, what made them not so good.
Okay, so I worked with somebody that made me creative. Like whenever I do something and I show the person will be like, wow, that's nice, keep it up. Okay, does a little adjustment here, but yeah, why not do it like this? But at the end of the day, the person allows me to like be myself, be creative, and bring out the best in me. So I've also worked with somebody that at the same time, the person like the person wants to take over the whole project. In the person, I'll be like, God, so why did you give it to me in the process? So I think one thing about the first one that made that person a good leader was the person was not just motivating, but she also allowed me to be myself while trying to help me. Why the second person was wanting to like collect the idea, making me look like, oh, so I'm not doing anything. I'm not improving and I'm not getting better. I'm just wasting my time. And at the end of the day, the person always like want to do the project.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so I want to talk.
Yes, Jane, go ahead.
All right. The one leader that I have worked with that that brought out the best in you was one of my former boss. She talks to me, she understands everything about me. Even when I am wrong, she still has this time to come and tell me, no, why not do it this way? Don't do like this. Okay, this is what you should not do. And this is how you should do it. If you do it this way, you will get this result. Why if you do it this way, you will get this bad result. So it's not left for you. Do you want a bad result or a good result? So she gave me the chance to decide to make decisions on my own. But she kept on following up to know the kind of decision, and then she influenced me in a positive way. Then a leader that I tried to avoid that brought, let me not say the bad, the worst to me was also one of my boss too. She doesn't how am I going to put it? She doesn't wait to listen to what I have to say or whatever I have to contribute. It is whatever she wants that she does. And if I make a mistake in anything I do, she makes sure that everybody in the office knows that yes, you've made a mistake. And that later made me start feeling inferior, as an inferiority complex started coming in. And before you know, it was like I was entering back to my shell. I don't even understand what I mean.
That's very clear.
All right, so those are the two, they're like words and opposites of a leader to me. One, embrace the mistake I make and tries to correct you, while the other does not embrace the mistake I make and tries to pull me down with my mistake.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Well done.
Hello, may I come in, please?
Yes, will this be Kabir?
Kabir, please. Yes, Kabir here.
Okay.
Yes, I've worked with the leader. So the negative side is he does not give room for you to contribute. Does not listen to you, to your opinion. Your opinion does not count. All he wants is just get the job done. He's just giving instruction to carry out assignment. At most times, your idea may be the perfect ones that will not make guests complain or customer complain, as the case may be. But every now and then, he just wants you to do it, even if he does not know how to do it in a perfect way. But he still wants you to do it the way he wants. Do you get? So
Yes.
the very negative side is not the kind of leader that I want to work with again. Then, but it has a positive side too. The positive side is very disciplined. When I say discipline, it does not give room for you. It takes punctuality very key. It wants you to get jobs done accordingly based on SOPs and processes. So that is the positive side about him. But the negative side is the one that I mentioned before. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks. So can we have one more person share so we can progress? Anybody that still has a comparison of a good guy, bad guy leader that they have worked with? Anyone that still has a leader or two that has demonstrated different styles that you liked or you didn't like? Okay, so let's make progress. According to the Broom-Yeaton model, all right, is a model of leadership theory of how to make group decisions as a leader. It recognizes the fact that different situations require leaders to make different types of decisions. I think it was Tammy that mentioned earlier, she would like to take good decisions. So it employs a decision tree for determining the right mode of decision making under different conditions. And there are 5 decision models or strategies that you can use when you want to take a decision, 5 of them. The first one is what we call the autocratic type 1. Autocratic type 1. This particular decision model, the leader takes decisions with whatever information that is available. Based on the information that is available to him, he acts. He takes a decision and acts at that point in time. That's the autocratic type 1. He doesn't talk to anybody. Based on what he knows, based on the information he has, he takes a decision. The second leader is the autocratic type 2. This particular leader, decision is still made by the leader, but first he collects information from the followers. So he asks, follower A, what do you think? Team member 2, what do you think? Team this, what do you think? So he collects the information from various persons and then decides on it. Have you noticed the difference between type 1 and type 2? Type 1 takes decision on his own, no consultation. Type 2 takes decision on his own, but consults others. So in autocratic, they both take the decisions. However, autocratic 1 does not ask. Autocratic 2 asks before he takes decision. I hope these two are clear. Let's look at the third one. Consultative type 1. In consultative type 1, the leader seeks input from select followers individually based on their relevant knowledge. So you want to take a decision on online business. So you consult your digital marketer. What do you think? You consult your website administrator. What do you think? You consult your social media manager. What do you think? But you will not consult your administrator. You will not consult your production manager. Why? Because in the consultative type, consultation is only with selected individuals that have relevant knowledge. So the leader seeks the input of these people before he takes decision. Again, can you see the difference between consultative type 1 and autocratic type 2? In autocratic type 2, decision is made by the leader after he has collected information from the followers. But in consultation, decisions are made not by talking to every follower, but by speaking to a select individuals who have relevant information before a decision is made. Number 4, consultative type 2. In consultative type 2, the leader shares the problem with relevant followers as a group and then seeks their ideas and suggestions. Consultative type 2 is similar to type 1. The leader in type 1 looks for people who have relevant information and talks to them one-on-one and gets input from them. But in type 2, the leader brings people that have relevant information, brings them in a group and has a conversation with them as a group and shares his ideas and suggestions and asks them to provide their ideas and suggestions at that point in time. Have you seen gradually how there is a difference between the various decision-making styles of leaders? Last one, group-based decision, type 2. The entire group walks through the problem with the leader. There is no isolation of anybody. Everybody in the office is called into a meeting. Let's come and sit down. And then they discuss the problem together as one team, as one group, and come up with a solution. Now we are discussing Yago's model of decision making. Have you noticed that according to Yago, based on these 5 decision strategies that he has mentioned, it is clear that there are certain scenarios, certain times that a particular type will not work. If, for example, you're trying to take a decision as the president of a country on national security issues, will you call in the sports minister to come and advise you as part of the group to discuss security with the sports minister? No. You're trying to take a decision on Twitter, whether you want to ban Twitter or you don't want to ban Twitter. Will you call the person in charge of Minister of Real Estate, Housing and Real Estate to come and discuss in it? No, you will call relevant people to that particular thing. But if you're trying to take a decision about everybody that affects everybody in the organization, then you will take group 5, right, as a model to accept at that point. Please note, it is possible that one style may not necessarily be better than another style. Each style has its uniqueness in the scenario which you are going to apply it for and put it to use at that point in time. Now, the general criteria for selecting your decision-making strategy. Here is a question. This is what determines what you're going to use, what strategy you're going to use. The first one is timeliness. Do you need to take the decision immediately, now, or do you have a lot of time available for you to take the decision? So let me engage you in a conversation. Let's go back. In these 5 styles of decision-making, which of them is used to take a decision now, that you don't have time, you need to take a decision now? Which one will you use as a leader? Yes, please chat. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Which one will you use? You don't have time. You need to take a decision now. Sharp. You don't have time. You need to take a decision quickly. Which of them will you choose? Yes, contribute. Which one will you choose? You don't have time. You need to take a decision. Time bound. Your decision is time bound. There is no time. Which one will you choose? Yes, respond. We've lost someone on our chat. Somebody has left the meeting. Yes, please share your thoughts. Okay, beautiful. Yes, share, yes. Okay. Yes, I've seen number 5. Yes, what else? You don't have time, you need to take a decision. Yes, what else? Okay. Yes, you don't have time. You need to take a decision. Which of these decision styles will you take? Can I get 2 more persons to respond? No time to check time. You just need to take a decision. Sharp. Which style will you use? You don't have time. Your decision is time bound. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so one more person to respond. Which one will you choose? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone who has responded. Okay, so what if I challenge you and I say that the answer is number 1? You are pressed for time. You need to act immediately and take a decision. You don't have time at all. Note that number 4 and number 5 requires you to call a group together, to discuss with a group, to share opinions of the group, and to hear advice from them. You use 4 and 5 when you have a lot of time. Because in the group, remember, everybody is entitled to his opinion. So there'll be arguments, there'll be discussion back and forth and things like that until all the opinions have been heard. Meanwhile, by that time, market has closed. This is why when you are pressed for time as a leader, the best model to take a decision is number 1. If you have some small extra time, you can do number 2. Is there someone speaking?
Sir. Yes, sir. What of after taking that number 1, and later found out that the decision you actually took, even with the information that is available at that time, was not the right decision, and those informations were not relevant.
Okay, so
even though we are pressed for time, yet the informations were not relevant for that decision that you have actually taken.
Thank you. So, assuming as an example that you got a call that your child has just been kidnapped, and you were told that these kidnappers are very dangerous people, that is what you know, these kidnappers are very dangerous people, and that they said you should bring ransom, you should bring 1 million naira, and you have 1 million naira in your account. Under that pressure, what will you do? Will you do number 1 or number 5? That's the point. When you're under pressure as a leader, there is no time to consult. There's no time to call the police that my child has been kidnapped. There's no time to call family members in the village. There's no time to call that person in USA to ask him for his opinion. No time to consult and have a group discussion. You will act immediately. The question you're asking, what if after acting, you notice that you acted with wrong information? That is why there is room to adjust decisions in the future. But a leader's inability to act because he does not have sufficient information, that leader is not fit for certain positions that are high-risk positions. That leader will not be able to take on certain positions that require immediate decisions. For example, on issues of security, you cannot have such a leader that cannot act immediately on that position because the leader is waiting until the weather report comes in before he takes decision at that point in time. Okay, there's a chat. Did I miss something? Okay, Jasmine has changed her position. All right, number 1, beautiful. Okay, so thank you. So the second one, decision quality. What model will you take? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. If the quality of decision, the issue that Gloria just raised now, matters a lot. If it's a routine decision, the decision that we normally take regularly, your standard operating decisions, standard office decisions and things like that, you may not need to consult a lot of people because you just follow procedures. And then you act based on the information that you have at that point in time. So you may take number 1, you may take number 3, as the case may be. But if you need high quality decision, clearly you must take the one that involves consulting with other people. You must consult with other people. An example is, which one? Let's go back. So if you need to take a decision, and the decision must be high quality decision, which one will you take? Number 1 to number 5. The decision must be high quality. Which of these will you take? Number 1 to number 5. Which one will you take? High quality, not a routine decision. This decision is very, very important, and it is high quality. The decision we cannot afford to make mistake. Which decision will you take? Which of the strategies will you take? Which one will you take? Look at it, look at it. Which decision will you take? High quality decision. You need to get it right. It's not about issue of time. Time is not an issue. It's the quality of the decision right now. Which one will you take? Okay, comments have started coming in. The first comment is in. Jasmine says number 3, beautiful. Yes. Yes, yes. Can we get 2 more persons response? You need to take a high quality decision. Time is not an issue. But you
Hello,
need to get it right. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Joe Kabir here.
Yes,
So,
go ahead.
my message is not dropping very well. I don't know why, but I'll go with number 4. Sharing the problem with the relevant followers as a group and seek their ideas and suggestions before taking the decision.
Thank you very much, Kabir. Thank you. Yes, so one more person. We've had number 3, we have number 4. Can one more person volunteer and answer? High quality decision you need to take. You need to get right the decision. Okay, so yes, Gloria. Okay, so the right decision strategy to use is what Kabir answered, number 4. Let's explain why the other ones are not correct. Let's explain why the other ones are not correct. Yes, let's explain why the other ones will not be the best decision strategy. Number 1 does not consult anybody. You cannot take a high quality decision alone. So number 1 is out of it. Number 2 consults other people with relevant information. Sorry, consults other people, but it does it. It just consults other people. It doesn't consult people who have relevant information. It just consults people generally, which is why number 2 is not good. Number 3, the leader selects. Number 3 will have been fine because the leader selects people who have relevant information and engages them. So number 3 will have been fine. Number 5 is not good because the leader is inviting everybody plus those who have relevant information and those who don't have relevant information. Those who don't have relevant information will end up coming to distort the conversation and scatter the whole thing and perhaps even water down the decision that is being taken. So number 1, 2, and 5 is out. Why did we choose number 4 over number 3? In number 3, the leader spoke to the people one-on-one. In number 4, the leader brought the people together into a meeting. That is the best way for high quality decision. When you want to do high quality decision, you do consultation. You bring the relevant people together into a place and then they provide all the advice you need. Have you noticed that most conferences, they bring panelists together to come and discuss? Instead of talking to them one-on-one, they put them together as a team and engage them at that point in time so that they can provide the best form of advice. Debate it at that point in time in order to come up with the right instruction at that place. Okay, thank you, Kazim. Your message has dropped now. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then the last one, group acceptance. If you want your decision to be accepted by the group, in that case, your decision itself and the process used must recognize the group. If you go back to our list here, there is only one, number 5, that meets that criteria. Number 2 and number 5 are the ones that meet that criteria. In number 2, the leader consulted everybody. In number 5, that is one-on-one. In number 5, the leader brought everybody together and they had everybody to share their opinion and their views. So depending on, and this information goes to Tammy, depending on what you want to decide on, you can use these strategies 1 to 5 and this guideline to help you to take that decision well at that point in time. Okay, so beautiful. So let's talk about the leadership styles. your leadership styles at this point in time as we wrap up our conversation. What is your leadership style? There are different types of leadership styles. Before we close this conversation, I'd like you to take a quick exercise. Use your mobile phone and visit this website, bit.ly/P for PE lead style. Please note where the capital letters are and take this assessment. The assessment will take you just 5 minutes. Please take the assessment and then we'll continue with the class. Let me wait for you to take the assessment. Please take the assessment now. Okay, so we're done with that particular assessment. Let's now look at what it means, what the assessment itself means. The assessment we just went through is our leadership style assessment. And it simply measures your leadership styles. It measures it on whether you are an assertive individual or whether you are an expressive individual. An assertive individual is someone who is bold, who insists and ensures that things get done. An expressive individual is someone who is collaborative, who discusses, who dialogues, who engages in conversations and attempts to get something done. Or are you a combination of the two? You are expressive and you're also assertive at the same time. Here is what the graph looks like. This is what the graph looks like. So I don't have time to chart your own graph, but I can share this with you. It helps us to understand what we've said so far. So the graph has two sections. There is the assertive and there is the expressive. To the left, this side of the screen, you will see the low expressiveness. That is on this section, if you see my cursor. So here is the low expressive. This particular individual is not very expressive. While on this particular section, you have the highly expressive. This individual is very expressive. Those are indications of the various personalities when it comes to expressiveness. The low expressive person is systematic, is direct. The highly expressive person is spirited, is considerate. Now, the low assertive person is systematic and considerate, and the high assertive person is direct and spirited. What does these four boxes represent? Let me start with the direct. Someone is said to be very direct if the individual is very assertive and doesn't express himself. He doesn't have time to speak. He just does what needs to be done. And sometimes he doesn't wait for your opinion or bothers about your opinion or your views. He just moves into action to ensure it gets done at that point in time. A spirited person, on the other hand, is like the direct person, but he asks questions. He stops to check your views, your opinion, and things like that. But your views and opinion does not change what he wants to do if your views and opinions are not very good views. If your views and opinions do not count at that point in time, it does not change what he wants to do. He is also still assertive. At the lower part, you have the systematic individual. The systematic individual is someone who is low in assertion. He doesn't know, he doesn't ask too much questions. He doesn't push anything. This is a process-driven person. This is the person that once you engage him, say why, he'll tell you it is what the policy says. I am following the policy according to the policy. The person is always a policy person, process-driven individual. So if you have an employee in your environment that everything for him says policy, or you have a manager that anytime you tell him something, he asks you to go and check policy. What does the policy say? That's an example of a systematic individual. Now, most HR people, most control people are systematic individuals. because their job requires them to follow policy. Then the considerate individual, on the other hand, are people who are high in expressiveness. They are the kind of people that before they lead, when you talk, they say, hey, yeah, you're not feeling fine. Hey, do you want to go home? Go and rest now. That's an example of a highly expressive individual. But he's very low in assertiveness. When you come to him and say, oh, God, look, I cannot do this job, but this thing is just too much. You say, hey, yeah, okay, don't worry, just leave it. Me, I will do it for you. That's an example of a considerate individual. Now, the direct individual, usually we see him as being aggressive. He's always stepping on people's toes, always making people feel uncomfortable. That's the direct individual. Sometimes people also do not like him because he's always too fast and talks very, very fast. But management likes him because the direct person always gets things done. The spirited individual, on the other hand, is entrepreneurial. He's a very good leader. He's able to balance assertiveness and expressiveness. He shows care for you, but despite showing care for you, he has his eyes on the balls, on the results that we need to achieve at that point in time to ensure that we actually get the result we're supposed to get at that point in time. The systematic individual, who is a process-driven individual, on the other hand, is the kind of person that makes little friends. People are not generally his friend. Not because they dislike him, but because he's always on policy. He's always reminding them of the control system in the organization. And generally, they don't make too much friends with him because he's not a good ally. You cannot sit with him and discuss something, and then he will keep it. He will always drag it to policy and use policy on it. Now, the considerate individual, on the other hand, all right, while he's high on expressiveness, people generally take advantage of him. Say, just go and talk to Oga. Oga is a nice person. He will listen to you. Madam is a nice person. She will listen to you. Don't worry. Don't be afraid. Go and talk to Oga. If you have a manager that people say those things about, look out. That particular manager, people may be riding that manager, may be taking undue advantage of that particular manager. So it's important that we are able to balance all these four. Ideally, the exercise you just went through, the result of your exercise is supposed to show 100%. That's the questions you answer. You know, there are 5 points in each question. 5 times 20 questions is 100 points. That 100 points, if you're a balanced person with leadership style, you're supposed to be showing 25 here, 25 here, 25 here, and 25 here. That means you're balanced to considerate, balanced to systematic, balanced to spirited, and balanced to direct. But we know that generally in life, it is hard to find someone that is balanced on all the other areas. There's always one part that you are tough or strong in that bends you in that particular area. Here is a graph. I haven't charted your graph. I will chart this graph for us. When we come tomorrow in our class, I will show you your own result. The one for the 7 of us that took this assessment. For a particular class I did recently, this is their own graph. You notice that the entire class average, although the numbers are not showing, the females are more considerate. Can you see here? The females are more considerate than the men. This is the men, all right? While the men are more systematic in that particular organization than the females in that particular organization. And in general, in the entire organization, almost everybody there are considerate. The average of all the class is considerate at that point. We shall look at our own results when we come in tomorrow. So wrapping up our conversation, what we've done today, this is the end of today's class. What we've covered so far today is we've examined the space of leadership, went through some leadership quotes when we started. Then we examined why leadership from time to time may be traits, maybe behavior, maybe situational. And we said you need to understand people, understand the environment for you to lead very well. Understand this very well, understand the people you're leading, and that understanding will help you to bring in the right situation to lead people at that point in time. Then we'll look at your own leadership style. So there are different leadership styles that you can use, but you have to choose one that fits you, that is like you as much as possible. So when you lead, you know that you are an authentic leader and you're producing the kind of results you expect to produce. I did say earlier that by the time we come to the end, let me stop sharing. I did say by the time we come to the end, I am going to request for us to share our video. So right now I'm asking you to share your video so that we can see ourselves. So turn on your video. Okay, so we have, is that Kazim? Okay, beautiful, beautiful, good. Tammy, yes, Kelvin, yes, beautiful. Welcome, everyone. We have Ruth, we have Jane. Okay, that's Gloria. Jasmine is still in bed, okay? Okay, so can we have Jasmine join us? Okay, thank you for coming online. This is the end of our session today. We shall continue from where we stopped here tomorrow. We're back here again by 10 a.m. tomorrow. Between now and then, we'll most probably send you materials of what we've covered and additional materials you need to focus on. Okay, so we'll have Jasmine that's come on now, okay, even though she's looking like she's the one who is in charge of Corona. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll hand over back to Tammy now. Thank you very much for this particular session. You can unmute yourself and speak.
Thank you very much, sir. Great session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. We have